The Story of Joker. What if one bad day could change everything in your life? Not slowly, not step by step, but in a single moment that breaks something deep inside you. What if you tried to be kind, to be gentle, to make people smile, but the world only gave you pain in return? Would you continue trying, or would you finally stop caring? Hello, my name is Arthur Fleck. This is not a happy story. This is the story of how a quiet man slowly disappeared and how something else took his place. Arthur Fleck lived in Gotham City, a city that felt heavy and tired. The streets were always full, but people felt alone. Garbage was everywhere, and the air felt dirty. Sirens were part of everyday life. People did not look at each other. They walked fast, as if stopping even for a second would make everything worse. Arthur lived in a small apartment with his mother, Penny Fleck. The building was old and poorly maintained. The lights in the hallway often did not work, and the elevator made strange noises. Sometimes it stopped suddenly, and Arthur had to take the stairs. Every morning, Arthur woke up early. He helped his mother get out of bed. He prepared her breakfast and gave her medicine. He spoke to her softly, even when he felt tired. She depended on him for everything, and he never complained. In the evenings, they watched television together. It was their only escape. They laughed at shows that felt very far from their real life. Penny always smiled when she looked at Arthur. "You are special," she said. "You are here to bring happiness to people." Arthur wanted to believe her, but something inside him did not agree. He had heard those words many times, but his life did not feel special at all. Arthur had a condition that made his life even more difficult. Sometimes he laughed suddenly and could not stop. This laughter did not come from happiness. It came from somewhere deeper, somewhere painful. His body shook, his eyes filled with tears, and his chest felt tight. People did not understand him. Some looked at him with fear. Others laughed at him. Many people simply ignored him. Arthur carried a small card that explained his condition, but most people did not even take the time to read it. Arthur worked as a clown. He wore bright clothes and painted a big smile on his face. Every day he stepped outside and tried to act happy. He danced on the streets, held advertising signs, and tried to get people's attention. Most people walked past him without looking. Some teenagers made jokes about him. Some adults looked at him with pity. Arthur kept smiling, but inside he felt empty. One day, while Arthur was working, a group of boys approached him. They laughed and pointed at him. Suddenly, they took his sign and ran away. Arthur followed them. He needed that sign for his job. He asked them to stop, but they did not listen. They broke the sign and threw it on the ground. Then they pushed Arthur down and started kicking him. He tried to protect himself, but they were stronger and faster. People walked by. Nobody stopped. Nobody helped. When the boys finally left, Arthur stayed on the ground for a moment. He looked up at the sky. It was gray and empty. In that moment, Arthur felt like he did not exist. That night, Arthur sat in front of the mirror. The room was quiet. He slowly touched his face, as if trying to understand who he was. He tried to smile. The smile looked strange and weak. It did not feel real. After a few seconds, it disappeared. His face became empty again. Arthur felt tears in his eyes. He did not understand why everything felt so heavy. Arthur visited a social worker regularly. He talked about his feelings. He said he felt alone. He said he felt invisible. He said he did not know how to connect with people. The woman listened, but she seemed tired. She had many people to help and not enough time. One day she told him that the program was ending. There was no more funding. Arthur would not receive therapy or medication anymore. Arthur sat quietly. He did not react immediately. "What about my medicine?" he asked. She looked down and said, "They are stopping that too." Arthur nodded slowly. He felt something inside him fall apart. The small support he had was gone. After that, his days became darker. He spent more time alone. He continued writing in his notebook, but his words became more serious and more painful. He wrote about life. He wrote about death. He wrote about how people treat each other. One night, Arthur went to a small comedy club. He had always dreamed about this moment. He wanted to be seen. He wanted to be heard. He walked onto the stage. The lights were bright and the room was quiet. He tried to speak, but suddenly he started laughing. The laughter came out loudly and uncontrollably. The audience looked confused at first. Then they started laughing too. But they were not laughing with him. They were laughing at him. Arthur felt his face burn. He felt small and broken. His dream was disappearing in front of him. Later that night, Arthur was on the subway. He was still wearing his clown makeup. He sat quietly, trying to calm down. 3 men entered the train. They were well-dressed and loud. They started bothering a woman nearby. Arthur began to laugh again. He tried to stop, but he could not. The men turned to him. Their expressions changed. They walked closer. They started hitting him. Their punches were strong and fast. Arthur fell to the ground. But this time, something was different. Arthur reached into his pocket and took out a gun. He shot one man, then another. The third man tried to run away. Arthur stood up and followed him. He shot him too. The train became silent. Arthur stood there, breathing heavily. His heart was beating fast. For the first time in his life, he did not feel weak. He felt powerful. This moment changed everything. The news spread quickly. 3 rich men were killed. The city reacted strongly. Some people were afraid. Others were angry. Many people saw the killer as a symbol of something bigger. Protests began. People wore clown masks. They spoke against the rich and the system. Arthur watched the news carefully. For the first time, he felt noticed. For the first time, he felt like he was part of something. At the same time, Arthur learned the truth about his past. He found documents about his childhood. He discovered that his mother had lied to him. He was not special. He had been adopted. He had suffered abuse. This truth broke him completely. Arthur visited his mother in the hospital. He sat next to her quietly. She looked at him with weak eyes. Arthur did not show anger. He did not shout. He did not cry. He only looked at her. Then, slowly, he took a pillow, and he ended her life. After that moment, something changed inside him. He felt empty, but also strangely free. There was nothing left to lose. Later, Arthur received an invitation to appear on a famous TV show hosted by Murray Franklin. This was his dream, a real stage, a real audience. Before the show, Arthur prepared carefully. He put on his makeup again, but this time it felt different. This was not a mask anymore. This was who he had become. He walked onto the stage with confidence. He smiled calmly. He spoke about his life. He talked about pain, loneliness, and how people ignore those who are struggling. The audience listened. Then, suddenly,
Arthur took out his gun. He shot Murray on live television. Everything stopped. Outside, the city exploded. Protests turned into chaos. People filled the streets. They broke windows, burned cars, and shouted loudly. Arthur was arrested, but on the way, protesters attacked the police car and helped him escape. Arthur stood on top of the car. The crowd surrounded him. They cheered for him. Arthur smiled. This time, it was real. Arthur Fleck was gone. Now, there was only one name left: Joker, and his story was just beginning.